Welcome to our training for Builders Insurance Group powered by Appulate. If you have yet to watch the setup video, please do so prior to continuing the remainder of this video. Today's training will be covering general liability for Builders Insurance Group. So let's begin by opening up our Accord form. My location for my Accord form happens to be on my desktop. For you, it might be in an agency management system. That's completely fine. Simply open up the Accord form at its origin. Then locate the print option once your Accord form is open and select Appulate Uplink as your printer driver. If I expand my printer driver options, you can see that I have more than one printer driver available. So if your printer defaults to an office printer or a home office printer, please make sure that it is changed to that of Appulate Uplink. Then we will click Print. After clicking print momentarily, we will receive a pop-up from Appulate asking us to validate our Appulate credential information. And this is so Appulate can bridge over all of the duplicate data that we are currently seeing here into the Appulate platform so that Appulate can then bridge the data from Appulate to Builders Insurance Group's carrier portal. Point being, Appulate eliminates the need to rekey any unnecessary data for you as the agent on your Accord form. This is what that pop-up will look like. Please populate your agency credentials, your user credentials for Appulate, not for Builders Insurance Group. This is going to be for Appulate specifically. Once you have done so, please click Send. That is the first way to process an Accord form using Uplink. The secondary way is a shortcut. I do like to demonstrate for those folks who prefer it. Here is that same Accord form I had opened. I'm right-clicking with my mouse and then selecting Appulate Uplink from the shortcut menu. You are able to see here that we get the same exact pop-up. Point being, there's no right or wrong way to use Uplink. It's simply a matter of convenience. Feel free to choose the method that best works for your workflow. Now we will hit Send. Appulate will then open, and the system will then have us confirm the line of business we are working on. Next, we will click Continue. All of the duplicate data from our Accord form has successfully bridged over into Appulate. Now we will add our market. So we will head to the Add Market section near the top left-hand side of the screen. You are able to see an icon that is a circle with a plus sign that says Add Market right next to it. Please click the plus sign that says Add Market, and we're going to select a Builders Insurance Group today. Now we will click Add One Market because we're adding Builders Insurance Group as our market. Now our next portion to this training is bridging over the information from Appulate and getting that into Builders. So to initiate the bridge, we will click Submit, the big green Submit button in the Actions column kind of near the top right-hand side of the screen. Once we click Submit, you'll see this loading pop-up here. This is exactly what you want to see. The system is getting ready to allow us to initiate that bridge from the Appulate platform to the Builders Insurance Group website. Once the system is done with the loading pop-up here, underneath the Actions column, there's one final step. You'll see that that Submission button has now changed its verbiage. It says Finish Submission instead of Submit. So please click Finish Submission to initiate the populating of the Builders Insurance Group website. Builders will then populate, and Appulate starts on the very first page, bridging over the data that's duplicate from Appulate to the Builders website. General liability is automatically selected, as well as the state of domicile being Georgia. There is a question that do receipts for commercial work total more than 25%. This populates because it is not duplicate to Appulate, so there's nothing to automatically fill. Please make sure that you are filling in the remainder of the information here. Once the information is provided, we can then click Update. This will move us to the first portion of our submission, which is the account information. You can see that all of the duplicate data from Appulate has already populated. One section for this example that does not auto-populate is the need by date. So please make sure that this is completed. We can do this by clicking on the calendar tool and adding our need by date to our submission. Then we will click Next. We are moving to the risk location section. You can see that the 2 risk locations have already populated. There's nothing left for you to do as the agent here. These are the 2 risk locations that were on our accord form. Then we will click Next. Moving on to optional coverages, feel free to edit this information as you see fit. Then we will click Next. Moving on to the optional coverage state. Again, feel free to edit as you see fit. There's nothing to edit here for our example today, so we will click Next. Now we are on the risk information screen, and you can see that the system has again automatically populated the information for our risk. There's nothing manually to do here. This is turbocharging your submission process, again, because Appulate's able to autofill this duplicate data for us. So let's move on to the miscellaneous endorsement section. We're going to then click Next. In miscellaneous endorsements, there's nothing that I am going to be adding to this section, but if you did, please feel free to move forward and add the information. This generally is not duplicate from Appulate, so you will have to manually add the endorsements that you're looking for if they're not on the accord form. We will click Next, moving to the scheduled rating section. If I scroll down to the bottom of the page, I didn't have any debits or credits that were on my accord form, so feel free to edit manually if you need to. For this example, I'm not going to edit anything, but again, if you needed to, please feel free. It's not going to stop the system from auto-populating the remainder of any data. We will continue to click Next, moving through our submission. And now we are brought to the estimated premium worksheet. This should look very familiar to what you are already used to looking at. So we want to head now to the underwriting questionnaire. We will do that by clicking Next at the bottom of the screen. Now, the information in the underwriting questionnaire, some of it may be duplicate, but then there might be other portions that are not because they weren't duplicate to the accord form. So please make sure that you are entering the remainder of the information needed. So I am going to move through my submission and adding any additional required information here. Just clicking those radio buttons through the submission. Again, these questions were not duplicate to the submission from Appulate, so this is why you do need to enter these the answers to these questions manually because we don't have any duplicate information to be auto-populating. This is a test, so I am going to be adding some testing verbiage here, but again, if you are required to type in any information, please make sure that it pertains to the submission that you're working on. Moving forward, clicking at the radio buttons here. All right, any other information that you need to add in regarding the past and present operations? For this example, it doesn't apply. So we're going to click the box that says if none apply, but if you needed to add this information, please do so by adding the appropriate percentages for your insured. We will then click Next at the bottom of the screen. Oh, I'm going to edit some information here. I'm going to provide an explanation for the safety. We have provided that information that was required. So I'm going to continue scrolling back down and then clicking next. Again, duplicate data has already been added. I am going to add the total receipts, just proving that if you edited or added any additional information here, that it's not going to stop the populating of information on the next portion of the submission. Now we will click next. The contact information, because it was already on my Accord form, has auto-populated, so nothing to enter there unless, of course, you needed to edit information. We're going to continue clicking next to the payment plan section, leaving it on annual pay, and then clicking next, getting us to our summary. So you're able to see in the process of our training today how quick and easy it was to get to this point. You do not have to rekey any unnecessary data that you bridged over from the Appulate system. Only those sections that weren't considered duplicate from your original portion of your submission as it was populated by Appulate. So this turbocharges your submission for Builders Insurance Group. Feel free to forward to underwriting as you normally do. Nothing about that portion of the submission process will change. If you have any questions regarding the submission process, please contact support@appulate.com.